Hi everyone. I see that there are more and more of you are joining. In the end, I think we should wait a little bit for it as well from the organization side that someone will join as a note taker in this event as well. Uh, in the meanwhile, I just quickly fly through the talks that we will do today. I will be talking about the Fuse project, which is an EIT urban mobility project. I will wait a little bit more until more of you are joining back from the coffee break. On my side, I'm over my coffees already because it's almost 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm joining from California time zone, from Vancouver, Canada. So apologies already in advance if my sentences become a little bit tangled or I'm talking a bit too quickly. So on that note, I think we will be starting in around 1 or 2 minutes. I've seen as a good practice from the previous sessions that we wait a little bit more until more of you are joining. And then there will be Taylor joining us from the organization side as well, helping out if there is any technical difficulties. In the meanwhile, I just want to validate, please, if you are here, can you hear me well? Because there is no other audio inputs and yes, amazing. Thank you very much. On my side, and I think we will be quickly just sharing the screen on my side, and it should be on a full screen. Yeah, I can see it as well. So I will quickly introduce myself and then jumping into what Fuse is about. So I'm Balázs Horváth. I'm joining from Vancouver, Canada. It's 3 a.m. for me, so apologies again if my sentences become a little bit tangled or if I lose my thought a little bit. That can happen, and I will just pick it up quickly. I'm joining on the side of Futuristic. Futuristic is an organization which is teaching entrepreneurship all across the globe. I will talk about it a little bit more in details when we get into the consortium of the project. I'm myself actually one of the alumni of an EIT program. I was in one of the first cohort of EIT Digital Master Program, long years ago. And ever since I started to launch my own companies, at the moment I have 4 companies, which one of them is Futuristic, which I'm the most enthusiastic about, which is the consortium leader of the Fuse project. And let's just jump into what Fuse is, because the main idea behind this presentation is I let you know about our best practices so you can replicate them and then repeat the best ones and avoid the mistakes we did. So for that, I need to give you a little bit of context what Fuse is about. Just the abbreviation Fuse is standing for Futuristic Urban Spaces Exploration, where the risk part is highlighted because this is a risk education project from EIT Urban Mobility, focusing to deliver innovation potential and also help others to create impact in the risk countries. This was the second year of the Fuse project. It was piloted first year in 2021, and now we had a second year in 2022. So far, 4 countries or 4 universities joined the project from Evora from Portugal, Kaunas from Lithuania, Ljubljana from Slovenia, and Riga from Latvia. In this second year, we had more than 200 participants. And the key idea behind Fuse is to have a challenge-based learning event where in 48 hours, students are going through, mostly from bachelor and master, the students are going through entrepreneurship training through workshops to develop an idea, like an idea hackathon, but with a way bigger focus on deployment and actually making it a reality. And in these 4 different locations, we organize these hackathons. Futuristic is traveling to the 4 locations, running together the event with the universities, and then running a train-the-trainer program as well next to it, which I will introduce a little bit later in this presentation. And then the winners of each team receives a cash prize as well, which they can use to develop their idea further, develop a prototype, validate with the customer and the challenge owner. And then they are traveling to Barcelona, where we are running the finals. In the first year, the finals was a competition, which means that the winners of the activities from from each location traveled to Barcelona, and there was another competition there when they further developed their project, and there was a final pitch when also the headquarters were present, and then they were part of the jury as well, and then there was a winner for a bigger prize. This year we took a different approach a little bit because we realized that there was a little bit of mistake on the side of the networking effect. We also like to bring together different students from different locations to network as well. And when they were competing in Barcelona, there was a little bit too few of a networking that I would have liked. And then we saw that obviously they want to concentrate on their project in there as well. So it turned into another hackathon in Barcelona, where they competed. And in this year we used the bulletproofing method. Actually, there is a very good Harvard Business Review study about that, where they help each other's project to develop further. So in Barcelona there was no competition anymore. There was an equal budget distribution in the end, which they could use it for prototyping and bringing their ideas to the market. And then they can test how they can scale it up to a bigger city like Barcelona, which is a good example of a good urban space and a good innovative design on the urban areas and urban mobility. For the success factors of a project like this, I wanted to highlight 5 different approaches or 5 different things that we have to consider. One will be the right partnership building. From practices, well, we are running a lot of projects across Europe, in European projects as well, in the US as well, and in Asia. And whenever it comes to consortium building, it's very important to find partners who you are already working together with very well, or at least you know that you can call them even when things hit the fan. And obviously, when there is a bit of a delay in communication, or you know that someone is not as responsive, that can make uncomfortable situation when it comes to reporting or deliveries, or when you have to change a little bit agilely. Because obviously when you do an EU project, you want to do a proposal, when you want to follow everything that you propose before in a waterfall model. But we know, I believe most of us already experienced in the education and innovation as well. Well, innovation is not working like that. There is some ad hoc changes. There are some challenges which come up, and then we have to change. So for that, you want to have partners you can collaborate with. In this consortium, we were working together with 4 AGIs, 4 higher education institutes, University of Évora, Kaunas Technical University, University of Latvia, and University of Ljubljana. And there was one SME, Futuristic, my company, where we were the consortium lead, and we were delivering the education events as well, and we were moderating all of these hackathons, idea hackathons, and the final event as well on our side. But the main part of this message is not who was in the consortium, because actually we want to grow it in the next year as well. We are expecting 3 more partners at least. But the main idea behind this is to really work together with someone who you know that you can reach, or try to develop a more partnership as soon as possible in the consortium, where you know that you can call each other. So it can be either with one transnational project meeting that we've run, for example, in this year, where we put faces behind the names in the emails, not just through an online call, but we met actually. There was co-financing as well, a link and contribution of accommodation providing from one of our consortium members, so we could meet there and have nice discussions. So whenever we needed support, or we needed to speed up processes, we could just pick up the phone and then call each other. So that's kind of the first critical success factor, to have the right partnership, and you have to work on that. That's needed in the project. And then the second, and one of the key ones in such an event chain, is the team dynamics within participants. So whenever it comes to small team events and challenge-based learning events, or any kind of flipped classroom entrepreneurship education, one of the main thing that decides if the project will go into the right direction or not in a team is the dynamics itself, and what kind of people you put in one team. Either in a hackathon, an idea hackathon, when there is competition, you either allow them to join as a team or join as individuals as well, or somewhere in between when you're expecting more people to join. So in these events, obviously there is just a short time and a very high pressure to deliver something in 48 hours, even working through nights, a lot of cases, and there are different personality archetypes that we can point out, obviously, in entrepreneurship events, and different working cultures, how when you take a siesta or you are working at night as well, you really are a perfectionist. And it's very important to have some diversity in the background as well. So really, what we realized with our company when we were running INE education events across the globe, currently we are active in 19 countries. Just want to give an aspect where the idea came from. We are running entrepreneurship event in 19 countries, from MIT, Boston to Google, Japan, in Europe and Africa as well, where we taught in the last 5 years more than 15,000 students. We are running hackathons, summer schools, winter schools, kickoff activities of the EIT kicks as well, and full semester courses. And there is a train-the-trainer aspect as well, when we are training the educators on how to deliver entrepreneurship trainings. And through hundreds of projects that we've run already, hundreds of events, we realized there is always one key aspect which decides if it works out well or not, is the team dynamics. So for that, we developed a team tool, which based on 4 different researches, and we combined the outputs of those and created a software-based tool. I'm myself a data scientist, so for me, automation and data analytics is one of the key when we are developing solutions. So we developed a tool which is identifying entrepreneurial archetypes in participants, and there is 2 different paths that we can do and go for in these kind of events. Is one, when we are just generating teams, when there is no given challenge, or just there is one given challenge for the whole cohort, and then you just identify the archetypes and you are trying to find a fitness score and just generate teams to have as diverse team as possible based on gender, major, nationality, and the entrepreneurial archetype. With a there is a machine learning model in the background which is fine-tuning these weights of this model every time when we are running the project. And the other approach is when, for example, when we have a 500 people event and there is 50 different challenges, we allow them to choose their challenges in a way so they will work on a project or a challenge that they are really passionate about. But on the list, they only see challenges where their fitness score is still meeting the requirements. So that means, for example, a very simple example, if there is already one hustler kind of person, but then very enthusiastic entrepreneurial person in the team, they try to make sure that there is no other very talkative and very entrepreneurial, very hustler-like person in the same team. So we make sure that the entrepreneurial types are as diverse as possible, also with the other aspects that I just mentioned before in the model. And this tool provides information for the coaches and mentors as well on how to treat teams, how to approach them, who is the more talkative, and how to make sure that each of them are having a fair share of work as well and be able to speak up. So that's our goal as a mentor and educator, to help them achieve a bigger impact. This tool is actually on the market, so we are running it as a lean method as well. We are validating through these events, and it's actually in this project for an in-kind contribution as well. This is already run by 26 events in the past 2 years, and it's delivering a pretty good output nowadays. So if you're interested, just feel free to reach out later on as well. But this ensures the team dynamics in such a short event, which is a key aspect on any entrepreneurial event. And then one of the other critical success factors is that there has to be an educator who is helping them and guide them through the path, especially when you are aiming for the wider part of the funnel. So if the funnel, everyone is focusing in acceleration and incubation in the end of the funnel who are already entrepreneurial, but then you are focusing on the wider side of the funnel, the students who are just raising the awareness of the entrepreneurial path, then you really have to put that hand and have a first on that. So the key part that we the aspect of the project as well. So in each location with these idea hackathons, we run parallelly a train-the-trainer event. So in the local universities, we train their staff to be able to deliver in a challenge-based learning method. Taylor, may I ask you to mute yourself a little bit? Thank you. So we train our educators as well in each location, so they are able to deliver the project without us in the future as well. So for example, in the next years, we are not going to Portugal, Lithuania, Latvia, and Slovenia, but we are going to 3 new locations who are entering the consortium after as well, because they are already having the participants, their trainers trained to be able to run the project themselves for replicability and without any further funding. One other key aspect, again, is the work, just use the working ecosystem already around you. For example, when you have already the city municipalities, in this case, were really enthusiastic, and they already gave sponsorship as well, and business challenges, very in-depth business challenges in some cases. For example, in Kaunas, they were really close with the participants as well. This is an example from Barcelona when they were presenting in the finals on an AR solution, which is using street art to boost a bit of citizen engagement in the city. You can see in the background the Sagrada Familia. The view was pretty good from the location as well for the finals. But they use the case providers as well as part of the ecosystem, or we are helping the trainer how to build these ecosystems around this project as well. So the key idea, for example, in Riga, we had RIX, the airport, the international airport of Riga, giving a challenge as well and sponsored the event for the future sustainability of the project as well. And they are very interested to join forces in the next year as well. And they provided a challenge, and more than 100 students are applied for that. Excuse me. And the last point on the list of the critical success factor for replicability is to really create the playbook. We have a guidance book which explains step by step how to organize this, what are the key aspects in the organization, how to do the communication plan in time, and what other automations are there that you can use for the project running as well, how to bring in more sponsorship, and how to recruit participants, and how to deliver the challenge-based learning training with workshops designed by Futuristic. We have our workshops, and the canvas is ready for the trainers, for the new joining participants and new joining consortium members, so they can run the project themselves. This is key for any project replicability, to really give a guidance, step-by-step guidance, how to replicate the project itself. And we already seen by one of the locations that they just went through by the design without our training, and they were able to run the projects themselves. So that is all about the projects that I have to talk about, and I think I'm also on the end of my time as well. So I will just quickly drop in the thank you slide with my LinkedIn QR code there, and just want to leave there that also Futuristic. I heard in the beginning that there's a new call out in AGI, the third call, and Futuristic is currently also seeking for partnership. So if you want to join forces with us for the AGI, and you need an entrepreneurship education company from the Netherlands, feel free to reach out to us. On my side, I will be answering most probably in CET afternoons, because, well, that's when I wake up in Vancouver. But otherwise, my colleagues can also answer your questions in the daytime.
Thank you very much, Balázs. I'm checking if there are any questions here, but I don't see any yet. And yes, very interesting and good to know that you're looking to apply for the third AGI call. I can launch us off with a question. I have a first question here. You talked about the importance of building the right team and having the right partners in each group to kind of facilitate the whole event or the whole discussion, if you will. I'm wondering about the involvement of young people in your organization, and if you notice that young people are involved and want to be involved with entrepreneurship, and you seem to have quite a bit of experience in this. So I'm wondering if you've seen progression in the number of young people who want to be involved.
Well, just myself, I started my first company when I was 20. That company is still running. It has 12 employees at the moment. And well, I made all the mistakes that is in the book to do in that company. I was just, well, lucky and being in a good domain that is still growing, and all of those mistakes didn't bring me for bankruptcy. But I think a great entrepreneurship education is needed for young talents, really, to make sure that they are not exploited by the market, because there is so many sharks in the water. One of my company actually received like 200K investments 8 years ago. That time I didn't have an education on entrepreneurship. I just had a data science background, and that company went bankrupt miserably. Luckily, I exited before that, but still we made all the mistakes which is there as well in that. So it's very important to really have the right education and have mentorship and someone who is holding your hand a little bit. But luckily, I believe it's more and more open. The field is more and more open for young participants as well to try their luck. And well, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, I would say. I would recommend more entrepreneurship for a lot of participants, being an entrepreneurial-minded employee of an organization. When you have the safety of the mother organization, but you can still be entrepreneurial, there is a lot of companies there which give you the opportunity to really try your entrepreneurial path, validate, and you have some funds. You have to report, obviously, so there is a bit of a boring part in it, but it's a safer way to really try how the entrepreneurial path is working. So that I usually recommend a bit more for the ones who want to play safe, because, well, entrepreneurship is not always just success and shiny. Obviously, looking from here with the ocean view, it looks like it's always worth it. But there was a lot of tearful night on the journey on my side as well.
I can imagine. And we have another question here from Antoine. Could you share some of the mistakes you've made with that first company, and any guidance on how to avoid replicating them? That's probably a big question.
Well, I really like this question. That's what I always recommend to my participants as well. Whenever there is a success story on stage, ask like, what were your biggest mistakes? I really actually encourage talking about failures a lot in our entrepreneurship programs as well. Here in the Americas, it's quite common to talk about failures, but in Europe, sometimes they can be just stigmatizing. So I always make failure nights in my longer education programs, like summer schools, to really encourage to share failures. So one of the big failures, obviously, my first company was a software agency and a web development firm without a website for 4 years. So luckily, the web development market was growing at that time, so the word of mouth was enough to grow the company. But obviously, I would never recommend to jump into a web development agency project or a company without having your own website or any portfolio to build up on. There was a lot of pricing mistakes on our side, and one of the biggest one, with the one which went bankrupt, is accepting investment based on the higher number. So we were having multiple offers from multiple investment firms, and we accepted the highest number because we wanted to grow as quick as possible. But it turned out that investor was actually from a competition side, and they really wanted to just make sure that our product is not hitting the market as quickly as we wanted to. So that limited our way of decision making, the speed of decision making as well. So it's very important to look into different options when you are accepting investments, and not just immediately go for the higher number. And for example, in that company, there was one person, the CEO that time, who had more than 50% of decision making, right? So in the end, we were more like employees with shares rather than co-founders who have any decision making rights. So we have to make sure, at least if there is 3 co-founder, the 2 can always overrule the 3rd. So these are the mistakes that I definitely avoid in every company. And now with Futuristic, with the 3 co-founders, we definitely follow the rule that we can overrule always the 3rd. So decision making is more like a democratic way of making decisions in the organization. Even though we are in 3 different time zones, I'm leading the headquarters in North America, but decision making can always be, I think, supported by that.
Thank you. Yes, and thank you for being here with us from the coast. I know that it's quite early or late for you, so thank you for that. I have no more questions in the chat, but I have one more. If that's all right. I am wondering, again, you talked about the involvement of working within the local ecosystem and sort of working where you are. And I'm wondering if you've seen any involvement of local or regional authorities getting involved in entrepreneurship. Some examples of public authorities who want to be invested in these projects, who see the benefit of improving entrepreneurship in their local community.
Definitely. Well, there is a lot of initiative as well. There are calls, for example, in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam, in the livable harbor as well. There is an initiative also where they invest in ideas. In this Infuse project, actually, in Slovenia, the city of Kranj was looking to invest in ideas. They had a 12 million euro fund to solve several deep societal issues in the city. And they were already looking into, and actually they are continuing the discussion with the winning team because they like the idea so much that they are willing to make a first prototype together with their investment as well. So that they definitely are very interested, and obviously there is a very good development in each country. And I think we need a bit more push in the risk countries. That's why we really focus with the Fuse as well to the risk countries and try to grow into the risk regions. But I think there is a very big difference from 10 years ago, let's say, in my home country as well. There is a huge difference now. What are the opportunities if you want to become a young entrepreneur and want to make a change? So yes, I believe authorities are supporting new initiatives, and they are actually helping to boost innovation, at least, not necessarily entrepreneurship always, but innovation and solutions for deep societal issues, yes. And if there is no other question, I will ask myself a question if there is time for that. It's about how can you really boost with technology in some of these events as well. And since there was the pandemic during the first round of this event as well, and with our summer schools, I think you can really use the interactive tools as well for boosting the effects of these events, even online. For example, we developed a process which is using Miro boards, interactive Miro boards as well, guiding through them the whole process, where you can really like a board game guide the interest as well through workshops as well, and you can remotely monitor where the participants are in the workshops. So even if we had more than 70 teams in an online event, we could really monitor each team, how they're progressing with each coach. We could share ideas even without being in the same location. I was joining him from Vancouver, developing midnight coaching activities and running midnight coaching as well for the participants who were working at night. Usually there is always like 12, 15 teams who work at night as well, and they want mentoring in a 48-hour event. So you can really make use of some disadvantages as well, like being in a different time zone, to make it as an advantage of the project and support the participants on their path. And one big advice would be to bring in mentors who are already on the market and they've seen mistakes, because students really appreciate the advice from someone who already failed or at least been on the market and not the usual professor that they see on the courses anyway. So that helps a lot when you bring in mentors from the market. Excuse me.
All right. Thank you very much. I think that's all the time we have for this session. I invite everyone to go back to the parallel sessions and join our fourth and final session. Yes, thank you very much, Balázs. We will talk to you soon, yeah?
Looking forward to it.
All right. Have a nice day. Have a nice night.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.